Hey, Mark here. I just want to give you a quick heads up. Chris Kelly, the guest on this week's episode, you've heard him before. He's been on this show for over 2 years. He has a new podcast called Classic American Movies. And in one of his episodes, he interviewed one half of the directors of Out Cold. He interviewed Emmett Malloy. So, Chris Kelly, what did you learn?
I learned that the original version of Out Cold was supposed to be a lot more vulgar, and it was supposed to have more to it. A lot of the different guests that are in the movie were personal friends of the Malloy brothers. So there's a lot of more facts to the film than what you can get by just listening to the commentary or looking at the DVD or Blu-ray. But if you are interested in checking out that interview, you can find it anywhere that you stream your podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Podbean, anywhere that you are looking for your podcast. Just check out Classic American Movies and it'll pop up.
It's a good interview, guys. You want to listen to it. So enjoy the episode and make sure to go to Classic American Movies. Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently wearing a $300 hat. It's Chris Kelly.
I got it on sale. It was originally $600.
I gotta say, in this movie, I really enjoy Lee Majors in this role. I mean, he is the most stereotypical human being known to man, but when he goes, "That's a $300 hat, bitch," He does it. He does a good job. And actually, whenever I see him now, I think about this movie he was in called The Vikings, where he plays a Viking with a mustache. And they filmed it in Florida because he wanted to be close to Miami. And there's palm trees in a Viking movie. So whenever I think about that, I just think about Lee Majors' mustache in a Viking movie. It makes me laugh. But Chris, this movie, dude, is Casablanca.
It is. This movie is heavily based on the classic Casablanca movie,
which is insane.
And then you have a lot of the same dialogue, and you have the woman who's coming to visit the main character, and after being loved and lost. And I love the flashback where they're playing the great Weezer song,
Island in the Sun.
Island in the Sun, where they made a huge comeback that year with the Green album. I think the first hit was Hash Pipe, if I'm not mistaken. But they made a big comeback because their other album that had come out before that was the self-titled one with was it the Undone Sweater song?
No, that was like 94. So they had I think. Did they release Pinkerton after or before the Blue Album?
That is a great question. I think that was before, wasn't it?
Hey, look it up, Chris Kelly.
Oh, I'm hot on it.
hot on it. But yeah, so this movie, there's entire scenes when Anna, her character, comes in and she starts talking to Zach Galifianakis, who just plays Luke, but I'm going to call him Zach Galifianakis. They meet at a jukebox and she wants him to play the song. But he doesn't want to play the song, and it just reminds you of the scene from Casablanca. Play it, Sam, and dum dum da da da. When she does the beat, and then they both play the song. They start singing. Then the heroes come out and complain about the song, and at the end he puts her on the plane and she flies away. And they'll always have Pedro O'Hornies. It's just, it's like you're watching this movie where a guy poops into a cup for a drug test, and Zach Galifianakis gets his little Galifianakis stuck in a jacuzzi jet. I mean, this is such a movie of the time. Like 99, you had American Pie hit, and then there's Road Trip, and there's this, and then there's the other movies that like Euro Trip, Grind, those kind of films. This is such a movie of the moment, and I actually really love the soundtrack, dude. Sum 41, Blink, E6, like I think tons of Jack Johnson.
This movie definitely is a reflection of the time. I mean, in 2001, Jackass was a gigantic hit. So there was a lot of these extreme sports movies and guys doing these ridiculous things and pranks on one another that were becoming big hits. And they had a lot of alternative rock to them because that's just kind of the soundtrack of the time. To bring it back to Weezer, the Blue Album actually came out in 1994. Pinkerton came out in 1996.
Got it. So I remember the Blue Album, because I mean 94 was I had that CD, and then Pinkerton I loved, but no one really loved it. as much as the Blue album.
I think that one was kind of pushed to the side because everybody really liked the Undone Sweater song, and then
Buddy Holly.
Buddy
Spike
Holly,
Jones, dude, did that video.
Oh yeah, that was a great video too. I loved it because that was kind of the first time you ever saw in a music video, really, where you saw a combination of something from the past and then present being mashed up and looking fairly well.
And the fawns dancing around.
Yeah. What was he say? How was the salmon or something?
Wait, in where?
In the music video.
Oh, I don't remember that. I'm sorry.
At the end of it, he's like, how did you like the sandwiches or something? He's like, not so good, Al. He's like, man, not so good, Al.
I was in a cover band called Johnny Party and the Furious Funksters, and we would do 90s covers. And we did Say It Ain't So. And so it's a pretty easy song to sing. I was the lead singer. Pretty easy to sing. Somebody, honey. Very easy. But there's one part like father, stepfather, your son. And I could never hit that line, so I'll just put the mic out to the crowd and let them sing it. Because I could never hit that line. That was my gimmick, man, where I couldn't hit high notes, low notes, middle notes, sideways. I couldn't hit any notes. I couldn't hit
I was a singer, but
I couldn't hit a banknote if it was in my hand. So I would just put them, but we were a 1:40 a.m. band, and that means we would go on at 1:40 a.m., play for 30 minutes, go past the 2 a.m. mark, and then, everyone by that time is so drunk, and they know all the songs anyway, so it doesn't matter how you sound. I could be, spoken word Nirvana, and people would go crazy at 1:40 a.m. Yeah. So, Say It Ain't So we picked because I couldn't sing it too well. But, dude, Island in the Sun, when you listen to Island in the Sun, do you think of Out Cold?
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
I've always done that because I think that song was used to promote the movie. And I bought the Green Album when it first came out. I was in the 11th grade, and I loved it. But then I remember that song was used to promote this movie, and then I immediately just connected the two, and I still do that to this day.
Oh, for sure. And you know what's interesting? I kind of have a weird bond with this movie because I was working in a movie theater in 2001, and after September 11th, the following months, up until maybe Lord of the Rings came up in December, but in September, October, November, it was really quiet in the cinemas. And Out Cold came out in this time. 8% Rotten Tomato meter score, 6.3 IMDb, which is actually pretty good.
84% with the audience.
Yeah. That's a good score. Like, the audiences like this movie. It's 90 minutes and it's out. But no one went to it. And during those days, we had to kind of really scale back on staff. But since I was, seniority there, I was a supervisor, I got all the shifts. But I could use one trash can all day in all 8 theaters, all 3 showings, because we scale back times, and I'd be half full because just no one was going to the movies. So I was just so bored, I would kick open the doors and just watch Out Cold. But it was in our theater for 2 weeks, so I'll just kind of kick open the doors and watch it. And then if someone's wandered in the theater, I'd tear their ticket and just go back watching it. And it's a fun little movie. All right, so this movie has all the trappings, Chris Kelly, of a 2001 film. But I think there's enough good bits. So I think when they spin the car and they start freaking out like Galifianakis, that's a great scene, is it not?
That's one of my personal favorites. I watched this recently with my brother, and he could not stop laughing during that scene because this is fantastic. They're spinning him around. A drunk Zach Galifianakis is brought out of the bar. They put him into his car, and that's one of their pranks that they pull on him as they spin the car around, and then they're like, 1, 2, 3, and they all scream. Zach Galifianakis wakes up from his drunken state, and he's like, ah!
Spinning the wheel like a maniac. Just, it's funny. So Megan was watching this in the background, and she was like, Zach's being normal in this movie. I don't think she was used to, because he's talking like a regular guy. Remember in Hangover, how much of a caricature he is, and kind of other, in this movie, he's just a skier. And I love his relationship with Pigpen, his brother. They fight all the time.
Do you really believe that they are brothers? This was Zach Galifianakis' first supporting role. Yep. And I like how he brought a lot of improv to it, but I also like that he's just kind of playing a regular guy, that he's not portraying himself as being like he's a guru or something about him. It's just he's just kind of a guy, which is great.
There's a scene in the movie where, when they're driving, and the guy has a Dodge Charger with an ice, he shovels, pushes ice with his Dodge Charger, which is insane. But there's a scene where Zach Galifianakis is like, man, you're like don't be a no-ball wussy, like very O1 speech. But in the commentary, the two directors, Brandon Malloy and Emmett Malloy, they said that Zach never learned his lines. So in that scene, if you watch, you'll see him holding paper, and that's his script. He did not want to learn lines in that movie. And they say that in the scene, in the commentary, they said in the scene that he has with Victoria Silvstedt, that he was just walking around the robe all day with like a swagger. They were like, he was a different Zach. It was really odd. But there's a couple things I want to run by you with this film. I mean, $25 million budget. It was produced by Lauren Schuler, Donner. I mean, huge names that produced it.
Yeah. She started off with Mr. Mom.
It's just nuts that there was these people behind it. But the one thing I do think that's helped this movie at least age as far as the looks go, I mean, they filmed this on location. This is a movie that, you know, everything's basically in camera. The skiing, the resort. I mean, this movie looks good. And I think that's, like, they filmed it when it was freezing. If you watch, there are times when it's just blaring down snow on them, or it's raining on them. And, like, the directors were very kind of honest about that. And they made a joke where at the end, they were like, well, we're filming it during sun, but what if it gets cloud covered? And all the people that were working on it were like, guys, this is like a stupid sex comedy. Like, get over yourself. No one's going to care if one scene is cloudy and one scene is sunny. But yeah, I mean, they filmed this in Canada. I thought the mountain worked really well. I don't know if you felt that about it.
I felt like I was watching one of those skiboarding videos that I used to watch back in the late 90s and early 2000s. I thought it was great. I loved how they used authentic skiing and snowboarding for the movie, that they actually had real stunt folks for it. I thought it was great. It really worked with it as opposed to using stock footage. I loved how at the end they show all the bloopers and it's like, oh.
Some wipeouts.
Oh man, it's like, can you imagine, when they have the helicopter and they take them the one guy all the way up to the top of the mountain, have him drop out, and then it's like he flubs it on the first hit. It's like, oh.
The guys kept falling. They did that over and over, and the guys just kept falling. They were like, it was the craziest thing we've ever done. They just kept wiping out.
Oh gosh.
And you know that King of the Mountain in the beginning? They went up there 2 weeks ahead of time with some major skiers and some big-time snowboarders, skiboarding. They built that course over the course of 2 weeks. And then they filmed it over several nights, and then they said all the professional snowboarders were mad at them because they didn't realize how terrible filming is.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We're going to do this for 7 hours? Are you kidding me?
They built it. Like, they actually went out and built that race thing, which I think is pretty neat.
Dang.
You know,
especially having that house in the middle of it. Ooh.
And then like AJ Cook, she's in that movie as Jenny. When she had when she was what do you call it? When she was being cast in a movie, they're like, "Can you snowboard?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm great at it." And then she showed up and couldn't snowboard. It's all right. So Chris, this movie, Out Cold. If we looked at it, there's a couple ways to look at it, like objectively and subjectively. Now, this is not an original or classic of any type of genre. I mean, it's Casablanca with some Animal House with a few gags tossed in there. But
it's every classic wrapped into one.
For what it is, though, do you think it's an 8% movie? If you looked at this as originally shot as an R-rated, then went to a PG-13 rated ski-boarding, like sex comedy that has a lot of, of the time music, is this an 8% or is this something more?
No, I don't think this is an 8% at all. I think this is, it's not, you know what you're getting for. You know what you're walking into. The front cover is not exactly painting an artistic film. I mean, you have the entire crew on a snowboard. I believe the original front cover was them flying off a cliff.
Where are they going?
Yeah, if you're watching this movie, if you go into this movie going, I really hope that this is a romantic drama or this is going to be an in-depth film about snowboarding, come on. You know right off the bat that you're walking into a comedy. You know that it's going to have a lot of boozing probably. One of the first thing you're smacked with when you look at the front cover, it says Animal House on Ice.
Yeah. Is that even a compliment?
Yes, the heck yes, that's a compliment. So to anybody who's giving this a negative review, what are you expecting? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's what I always pose the question when people watch films and they go, oh, that was that was not what it was. Well, what were you really expecting walking into this film? I mean, come on, it's filled with a bunch of people from comedies. Zach Galifianakis in his infancy. You have Jason London, who is well known into his comedic field as from Dazed and Confused, but he's more of a dramatic actor in that. You have David Koechner, who has probably some of the greatest lines. Tell you about how I invented snowboarding.
And he's based on someone they really know who just wore shorts all the time during the cold weather. They're like, there's always that guy who always wears shorts. I loved him in this movie, Koechner. He said whatever he wanted. Like, he went off script the entire film.
I loved it. I wish I could have heard the story about how he actually invented snowboarding, which was apparently they had to cut it for the R rating to the PG-13, which is he talks about how he had to nail his feet to a board because he was stuck in the snow in a mountain.
I wish I would have seen, it's interesting. This movie only pulled $14 million, but I think if it was R rated, it would have pulled the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's also timing as well. I mean, it came out in November of 2001 at the time, and the way we were in America was not exactly the best time for people to go to movies.
Yeah, exactly. Or have those kind of, no one went to the, it was crazy, man. Like, those theaters in those days, it was just a ghost town going through there. But what do you think about, Rick Rambis, Jason London, he was in Dazed and Confused, all the Aerosmith videos. He's actually in a movie called Grind, which I don't know if you've ever seen, but it has Adam Brody, Jennifer Morrison. But there's a character in it called Sweet Lou.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet Lou's the best, is he not?
Yeah, I remember seeing that movie when I was in college, because when I was in college, we had a free video rental place in the building that I lived in, and that was one of the movies. I would just go in there and get whatever movie and watch it. And Grind was one of them, and I was like, Sweet Lou. And his sweet band.
Sweet Lou, he was a cool character, man. I really dug some Sweet Lou.
Yeah. Well, gosh, that guy was a friend of Eli Roth's growing up.
Oh, he was in Cabin Fever.
The guy who played. Yeah, that's how he got that role. Was that he knew Eli Roth, and then in the commentary for Cabin Fever, he actually Eli Roth discusses that he knew him and that he was being pitched for the role, and that they said, "What? You mean little Joey from back in the day?" No. He's like, "No way, I can't." He's like, "That's not the guy." And then he met him, and he's like, "I'll be damned, he actually is a pretty good actor," and you can see that in the movie. Well, you can see that in every movie that he does.
Super Troopers.
Yeah, Joey Kern. You can see that in every movie that he does. That he really does put himself in there. It's good. He's a good actor.
Sweet Lou. So Jason London, though, his character. I know it's not a knock on Jason London. His performance is fine, but they don't really give him anything to do. They put him with AJ Cook, Jenny, in this, and she's like, "You're going with me," and he's like, "Nah, I'm still mourning this lady." Then everyone's mad at him, and then she's kind of like, "I'm just gonna wait for you," and he's like, "Okay." Then he gets all mopey over Anna. And then at the end, in this film, he wins that race 3 times in a row. He wins. He puts the beer in his mouth. But I think they tell you more about his greatness than show it. So that's I guess, the one weakest part. And I think maybe a lot of these movies have that, where the core character, you kind of want them to go away. Because I enjoyed, Anthony, played by Flex Alexander. I like David Denham, Lance, the bartender. Pigpen, Luke. I like Stumpy. Give me, give me Ted Muntz or Eric, played by Thomas Lennon, which is nuts. In this.
Yeah. So you had a lot of comedy powerhouse coming into this. Thomas Lennon was not a spring chicken in the comedy field whenever he made this movie. He had a bunch of stuff behind him.
That weird scene with Pigpen on the online chatting room. You look back though, man, and this movie just has the bull riding that used to be famous, and then it had that soundtrack, and I don't know. And this also. This is weird, but I used to do a food job. I used to manage food events across the country. Some of these were in Snowmass, and we had around the Aspen area. And when they were we don't want it to be like Aspen, I could see it. This town that they're in, Bull Mountain looks like fun. But then you go to Aspen, they have these really swanky food events. There's a lot of money. When I was in Snowmass, I was doing a job there out of season, and it was just the locals. And when I entered their restaurant, they kind of looked at me like, "Oh man, who's this guy?" And then I just ordered the special every day. Then they're like, "Oh, this guy trusts us. He's cool." So I bonded with him. But I feel like the authenticity inside that local restaurant I went to during the off season kind of felt a little bit like Old Cold. You watch these party scenes, and there's people of all ages in it. There's not there's one guy in this movie. The directors are we featured him so much that he wanted a line, but if we gave him a line, we had to pay him for all the past days.
Oh no!
So they kept finding ways to just shove him in a scene, but not give him a line.
Oh gosh!
And
which guy was it?
You'll notice them. So they're when Pigpen puts the poop down on the table, the fight breaks out, and there's like an elderly gentleman, and he gets trucked in the background, but you'll see him everywhere in the movie.
Yeah, he's in the party scene. He's in there.
Yeah.
He's at the bar. I remember. Oh yeah, he stuck out a lot. Actually, when I was watching the movie again, I thought, how come that guy doesn't say anything?
Yeah, yeah, and they didn't want to pay him.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, the budget's tight. You can't do much about that. I'm sure renting out that whole area was not exactly cheap, or reconstructing the snow course, as you said.
There's a lot of money on that. And I was working with, I was listening to the commentary, and the Malloy brothers. So they have a lot of family who were surfers. So they just started filming them, Brendan and the two Malloy brothers.
Brendan and Emmett.
Yeah, and then they started doing music videos. I mean, they did
Blink-182.
I mean, they had, here they are. So they had like First Date, like by Blink. They had The Rock Show. They've done Kesha, Avril Lavigne, Metallica, White Stripes loves them, the Kooks, Demi Lovato, Weezer, Newfound Glory, Jack Johnson. I mean,
Papa
at the
Roach.
time, yeah, Papa Roach. They directed
Bizkit.
some of the some of the music videos. They did Saint Anger, which
That's a nuts video too.
yeah, and so these guys were unwritten law. They talked about how they had no idea what they were doing. They just filmed surfing things and got popular from it. But it's not easy to film surfing, but it's such a cinematic. Like you could sit on a board and get a great shot, and that's very hard. You need to know framing and all that kind of stuff. But they said their first video where they had a techno crane and everything, they just screwed up royally because they had no idea how to use them. And like this movie, I guess, like how do you think they did in their kind of, because they didn't make another movie until recently, like what, 2017, 2018 with Micah Monroe and Jennifer Garner. And they, on their website, you can go to their website and they don't even mention Out Cold. It's nowhere on their website. I mean,
that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad. I was looking through their website, all their music videos, but no Out Cold. But I don't know, man. Okay, there's a story, which I know every movie should have a story, but there's a story, right? There's a few good gags. You know what's going on. There's a narrative. Like, if that's your first movie when you're young, I wouldn't be too disappointed with it.
No, they were what, in their mid to late 20s at this point.
They didn't even know what they were doing.
They did a great job with what they had. I mean, they did have some powerhouse guys behind. I mean, guys and people in general working with them. I mean, they had the DP, Richard Crudo, who was a Steadicam assist on Ghostbusters 2 and Raising Arizona, Field of Dreams, and Donnie Darko. Yeah. He was also the DP on American Pie and Down to Earth and Grind. So he knew what he was doing. They had a lot of help. It's not like they couldn't have just reached out and been like, hey, we know that you have a lot of history behind you. Can you help us out with this one? And I think they did a great job with this.
And I think what's funny that you say that, a lot of times they just said they faked it till they faked it until they made it. A lot of times, like, we just had to act what we were doing, and if we didn't know, we just asked one of, like, our DP. Hey, man.
When in doubt, you ask the DP, because chances are they know exactly what to do.
Hey, can you come over here real quick? So, how's coffee? You drinking some coffee? Is the coffee good? That's great. Hey, so, what should we do here? Oh, don't look like you're, we're not asking you this, but you know what I mean? Like, we're not asking you this, but if we did ask you this, what would you do?
So if we were to ask your opinion on this shot, what do you think that we should do? Are you talking about Steadicam? We want to do a crane shot? Because honestly, I thought a crane was a type of bird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what is a techno crane? Is that music? Is that like a strobe light crane?
Oh, I really like techno. Yeah, that's. You heard of Fatboy Slim? They're pretty good.
Do you put a speaker around a bird and play loud music?
One of the first music videos they did was "In Together Now" by Limp Bizkit, which I thought was probably their best music video out of that era.
No, I mean, wait, First Date, dude. First Date was amazing. Are you talking about in that era?
No. I meant of Limp Bizkit.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and Blink-182 always had some great music videos, in my opinion. They all, I mean, what was it? First Date, I mean, What's My Age Again is probably one of the most original ones that they did.
All the small things, making fun of the boy bands.
That was a cool one, too. I think that one probably, maybe if people watched it nowadays, they probably wouldn't understand that they were making fun of all those music videos because it was made in 98, 99, somewhere around there when the height of all those boy bands were coming out. So I don't know if that probably would have got lost in translation about the hilariousness of that video.
Yeah, that was huge. Remember TRL, how big that was?
Yeah. Do you remember when Carson Daly used to dye his hair and now he's just on the Today Show?
Promoting Filter. I remember they pushed the Filter. Like, you guys, this new song by Filter. Oh my gosh.
I remember when Filter was, before they came out with, yeah, that album was fire. I don't think people understand that, man. That album was awesome. It was whenever grunge was huge. Filter was not grunge, and it was great. And then they came out with another album which had, Want to Take Your Picture?
Yeah.
And it was like, what the hell is this?
And that's the one they promoted a lot.
Yeah. It's like, no, they had a great album before that. No. 90s had some great stuff.
And then American Pie. Do you think... All right, so there were a lot of teen comedies in the 90s, but I think American Pie kind of kicked off this and Jackass, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. American Pie was a huge film when it came out in 99, and that really kind of kickstarted all those films yet again, because in the 80s we had a gigantic movement of teenage sex comedies, and they died off more or less, and the late 90s was a comeback in full force, and they lived for a little bit. I mean, you had I think American Wedding was probably the last good one, because then at that point it just kind of died and people weren't really interested in them anymore.
Chris Kelly,
I don't think they really came back in.
American Reunion is the best, because
American Reunion, that was a fun one. A
certain person named Mark Hoffmeyer has a very big role as party guy in that movie. The 80-yard lines into my mouth.
Really? I'm going to have to watch it again. I haven't seen that movie. I saw it when it first came out.
That's the lines they put. There was a party scene, and this guy was too afraid to pour wine. So, like, who can pour wine? They're like, Hoffmeyer can pour wine. So then I got a bottle of wine.
Who's the drunkest one in the room? Hoffmeyer, get over here.
Yeah, Hoffmeyer, you can do it. So then I'm pouring wine for this person, and the 80-yard dialogue in my mouth. Tell me when.
Oh,
and I was really disappointed. So I had to like when Tara Reid walks into a party, she walks up to me and starts talking to me. At first, we were both talking. They're like, we're not paying him. And then she was talking, and they're like, well, that's weird. And then we pantomimed. But then they basically cut off I had a big, like, pantomime scene going on there, man. Yeah, so if you watch that party scene in American Reunion, you got Mark Hoffmeyer flying all over the place, skulking around.
Oh, man. I thought we were
skulking around. All right, the one scene in this movie that I think I don't enjoy is when Flex is in bed with this lady and she pulls the covers away from him and then farts. I don't really get that scene. That's and you know the actress sent the director notes and she's like, "What if smoke came out of my butt?"
Huh.
And they were like, "No, well, we don't need smoke butt."
Yeah, well, why would there be smoke coming out of her butt? I guess it would be dusty or something. I don't know.
Dusty.
Dusty butt. I don't know.
But that's stuff you learn from this commentary. And they had their grandma on the commentary. I think they thought it was. Now, she's very pleasant, and I think they thought it was going to be really funny with her watching this movie. But for the most part, she was just going, I don't know what to do. And then she was quiet for long periods of time. And then she left the room for certain scenes. And then she was just like, I don't know. Well, who is that?
She's like, I hear they have cookies out there. I like cookies.
And I felt terrible, too, because they're like, Grandma, we're going to be reviewed on Roger Ebert's going to review our movie. And she's like, oh, that's really neat. But then he never reviewed it.
Oh, I read his review. No, wait. I'm sorry. No, I didn't get to reading his review. Yeah, I read from the newspaper that he used to write for San Francisco Chronicle.
Oh, got it. What did they say about it?
They were not very big fans of it. Actually, this movie in general was not very well received by critics. I think it was just the timing that we were at the tail end of a lot of these teenage sex comedies, and then you were getting mid to late 20s sex comedies. And, you know, this movie was more of a revival of the 80s ski resort films. There was a bajillion of these films that came out in the 80s. You had, you know, the most famous one is probably Better Off Dead, which was starring John Cusack, where he gets challenged to be the king. You know, I think.
Oh, I love that. The skiing. Yeah, that's great.
That's a great one. And Jim Carrey also was in one of them. There were just tons of these. There were piles of these movies, and this was kind of like a revival of those, which didn't really work out so well. People seemed to be more interested in the American Pie type of films, which you had, you know, it's kind of the same story, but without the skiing.
Yeah.
So
and no
the San Francisco, And Casablanca. I don't think that one set very well with folks. They didn't really. They either one didn't get it, or two they did get it and didn't appreciate the throw to it.
There's tons of it, right? So
oh gosh, throughout the whole movie.
So Cold Rick's Lost Love is French, a reference to the Paris studying in Casablanca. And then one time Rick sports a tuxedo identical to the one by Rick, Casablanca Rick, both Rick. Oh my gosh. And then Lance and was it Louis? Yeah. They're mainly because like they're always talking about getting with like they're talking about women. And then there's a line in Casablanca where they're like, I'd be interested in Rick if I were a woman. And then the Ricks are like rude to the women that like them. They have a song connecting them to their loves. The planes fly over them. It's just such like a Chris, this is such a weird idea, is it not? I'm gonna write a movie, a ski comedy, a sexy ski comedy, R-rated, with Casablanca themes.
You know, if I was pitched that idea, I would say, let's see what that looks like. I've heard crazier shit, kid. That's what I would say. Like, you want to know what something? I'm gonna lay it down for you, fair and square, kid. When I first heard about Alien, what I was told by Ridley Scott, Jaws in space. You know what I said? Stupid. So if you tell me you got Casablanca on skis, let's hear it.
You know what, kid? It's better than grind. I like your moxie. You know I produced Casablanca. I said, Bogey, it ain't gonna work. Ingrid, Ingrid's great, but Bogey, I don't know. Who is this guy? Are we gonna go back to our DP who never sits?
Yeah.
Or never stands?
I'll tell you what, kid. I did a lot of sitting on this one.
Like all the other ones.
You know what? I did Copper Mountain, Hot Dog the Movie, Better Off Dead, Blizzard of Oz,
Ski School.
And Ski School.
They developed skis to push me down a mountain on where I could sit. They call it a bobsled.
And you know who was in Ski School? Yeah, Chainsaw from summer school. Oh. So don't give me a shit.
Did you ever listen to our Icebreaker episode? If you guys are listening, go back and listen to the Icebreaker episode that Adam and Hodgins and I recorded. It's about Sean Astin battling Bruce Campbell at a ski resort.
Oh man, I keep forgetting to watch that movie. I've heard that podcast like twice. And I think you've actually told me about that movie.
There's the greatest fight scene in the world where this guy picks up Sean Astin and slams him in a kitchen, and the look on Sean Astin's face is pure terror. He's like, I did not know it was going to go this far. All right, hey, how about this? Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk more Out Cold. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And I gotta tell you, Chris, that polar bear scene, every time I watch it, stresses me out.
I wondered if that was the stunt guy that was sitting there.
Oh, yeah. And so it was a stunt guy.
Or if they used a dummy.
And they put a ton of, like, salted stuff between his legs. And he's like, yeah, the polar bear will eat it. It'll be fine. And the directors were talking about how they were filming it. And they told people to keep food away from the polar bear. And some idiot on set walked up behind him eating a chimichanga. And they were like 5 feet away from a polar bear. And they were like, you fucking, I just swore. They're like, you idiot, like, get out of here. Like, why are you doing this? Like, stop. So they had
my gosh.
So yeah, they actually had the guy in there with the polar bear.
Oh, I honestly thought that they would have used a dummy.
Yeah, no, I guess, yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, I guess the guy trains the polar bear, so I guess to be there is probably better to.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So the guy that they used was probably the polar bear trainer, or you had the trainer behind him, or somewhere around there. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I feel a lot more safer knowing that. they probably used the trainer.
I mean, it's just I don't know, it's a crazy scene. But I kind of, I don't know, I like that they got a polar bear, and I don't know. You feel the cold in the movie, I guess.
Yeah,
and they're pretty good.
And Lee Majors, you can't knock Lee Majors, which I thought was a fantastic choice for using him as the character that's going to be taking over.
Oh yeah.
The area, John Majors, which was hilarious of a choice, and I love his dialogue where he repeatedly talks down to all their characters. And then just the way he says, he's like, "Yeah, it turns out that guy's a little Elvis stuck in the
And you could tell it's a 2000 movie because they use I hate saying this word, but they use the word retard a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he keeps calling, and then he so the guy from Sex and the City is constantly called Muntz. The guy who owns the thing is constantly called that word. And at the end, he punches Lee Majors in the ear. He's like,
yeah,
with his little mitten. And Lee Majors like, ah. And I love
it's funny because Lee Majors is seen as like a tough guy in history and his movies and everything, but it's just funny. He just pops him one.
And I love in the bloopers where London comes skiing up on him and just falls.
It must have been like a dozen times. He's like, yeah, whoop.
It's a good blooper bit. But no, I think Majors really sells it. And then he had like, so I have a question. He's buying out these ski lodges. Why does he bring his daughters out?
It's not like he needs a hard sell. I mean, it's not like he's going to areas that don't need to sell. And I mean, by all means, John Majors, in my opinion, would be doing good for the economy of the area. He would be bringing in more money. It would lose, I guess gentrifying would be the correct term to use. That area definitely would need some more money. And I mean, you could keep the original feel of the place. One of the things I thought was interesting about it was when they turned their bar into that kind of a club area.
Yeah, overnight.
Quite literally. It gets turned into the powder room, which I thought was a hilarious term.
Yeah.
But the song that they're playing is Everybody Wearing Chung Tonight, which earlier in the movie, Zach Galifianakis says, you know, that's one of his mottos in life, where he says, no regrets, that's my motto. Well, that and Everybody Wearing Chung Tonight.
And then they played it.
And they're playing it as they're walking in. He's like, what the hell is this?
Seize the carp. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, it means, you know, get the carp.
I love that line. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, all right, another part that I liked about Lee Majors, he's like, yeah, I got you some new streamlined uniforms that will the cost will be deducted from your paycheck on your first paycheck.
Those outfits were probably not very ski good.
No.
I don't know how to put it. They don't look like they would be good for skiing.
They look cold, and they look very uncomfortable. But I think that's the bit, right? Kind of streamlining it.
Yeah, I guess to kind of like put them in their place, kind of, you know what I mean?
And then when Zach is drinking that latte, I taste, like, this is the best latte I've ever had. I taste the vanilla in this thing. That made me, I don't know, that made me happy. I thought that was pretty funny when Zach loved his latte.
Yeah.
So what did you think about Pigpen in this movie? He was a former Golden Glove boxer. So that punch that he landed on Zach, that thing looked real.
Oh, wow. See, it was no joke.
And I love their fight.
He really could have knocked him out.
Zach took his legs out from him, and he, like, tackled him, and then Flex just jumps on top of him. Like, I don't know. I think they built a good... And, you know, from everything I saw behind the scenes, it looked like everyone had a good time making this movie.
Yeah. This looked like it was definitely a lot of fun to work on. I love a lot of the improvings from Zach Galifianakis. He kept saying, like, stuff was cramping his style, but he would form it in a different way. We'd say, man, this uniform is really cramping my Olsen twins. Lance, can I get a drink for my married Kate and Ashley?
Yeah. Man, I wonder how many takes he went through just to get that. I mean,
sorry.
Oh, yeah. You're right there? You're laughing too hard. Oh, man, just laughing. Were you playing King of the Mountain, holding the beer in your mouth, and then you accidentally swallowed it?
Yeah. Who knew an entire mouthful of beer after coming down a mountain would not actually have gone down as smooth as I thought it would?
Yeah. That's a terrible thing to do while podcasting, Chris. I'm a little disappointed.
I'm telling you, it's like who knew drunk podcasting was not a way to do it.
Remember when you tried to record that episode from underwater? It was really, you know, I had to only use my audio.
Let's just say that the sound came out bubbly.
You know, they used the song Bubbly Toes by Jack Johnson in this movie.
What? Hey, bringing it back to Jack Johnson. What happened to that guy? I mean, what is he doing?
You know what I think it is, I mean, he had a big run. I mean, this was 2001. I was buying his music in like 2004, 2005. He had like a bunch of songs after that. But, you know, I think that was probably, 15, 16 years ago. And I think, you know, he was a surfer beforehand. He probably just got tired of it. And then you probably just can't be Jack Johnson for 20 years.
Yeah, I like that. I think that happens sometimes to folks whenever they do a specific thing, and or they were something, and then they go into the entertainment industry, and they just think that, you know, that's not really my thing, you know, and they just go back to doing what they were doing originally or what their passion was altogether. I read that the kid that played Mason Gamble, who was Dennis the Menace in the 90s, he became a marine biologist shortly after making that movie. Like, I mean, he went to college and everything. So it seemed like Jack Johnson probably got maybe a little bit tired of it or something. And then went back to just doing his thing.
Are you saying Dennis the Menace? He was like 12 and then he became a marine biologist shortly after?
No.
I'm joking.
You mean to tell me that the 12-year-old marine biologist? It's a movie in itself. Quick, give me a camera.
I gotta tell you though, the people in this film. I mean, so AJ Cook, right? She went on to make Final Destination 2, and then she was in True Calling, and then she's in over 300 episodes of Criminal Minds. David Denham.
Yeah, she crushed it.
Yeah, David Denham, the bartender. He was in The Replacements before this, but then he was in The Office, and he was also in 13 Hours. He was like a badass in that. Anna. She was in the movie Breach for a little, that movie Breach, which I love, Devil, and then she was in Hannibal, a lot of it. I love that show, Hannibal. Like Pigpen, he stayed busy in a ton of TV work. Flex Alexander went on to Snakes in a Plane. Hills Have Eyes Have Too. The Malloys, man, they've moved into the commercial world, and you and I know about commercials. They've won awards and directed LeBron James and everything. Thomas Lennon's crushing it. Then you had. Let's see, who was the other guy? He went on the Sex and the City, Ted Muntz, or Willie Garson.
Who went the sci-fi route.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you look at Jason London's IMDb, he's been working nonstop. He worked on a friend of mine's movie called Roswell FN. Actually, he did that. But it's kind of like all these people, this is a good cast. And actually,
yeah, it's a solid group of guys.
We have a connection on this with David Koechner, because isn't that the first time I met you was on Anchorman 2?
It was and that was whenever I parked my car was right by where the bathroom was. Yeah. Whenever we were doing Anchorman 2, and David Koechner would come up behind me and he'd poke me or something. He'd go, "Hey, I got you, buddy." He was like, "Ah." Yep. He was a really nice guy. I just remember the first thing he said. He was like, "Hey, man, where can I go take a piss around here?" Yep. We were using I think it was a head shop. I was like, "We're using the head shop over there." He's like, "What? We got to go over there to use the bathroom."
Yeah, it was. You're right. It was the head shop.
It was. There was a bathroom in the basement. That's what we used.
I tell you, every day when I went home, all I did was, it was really hot, and I just ate fumes the entire shoot. The entire shoot, I just absorbed a lot of gas, I remember. But it was pretty cool where we were parked, because everybody in that fight scene came by our way. So you had some good chats, because you were in the old taxi cab that was cool looking.
I was. I remember Liam Neeson talked to me for a little while too about my vehicle, because he was like, "This is a really cool car. Is this yours?" And I was like, "No, it's part of productions." He's like, "It must feel cool driving around." I'm like, "Yeah, it does feel cool, because it's a 1956, and I'm a big fan of the 50s, and it just felt really nice to drive around in a vehicle that was authentic from the era."
And they throat chopped you.
Hey, beat the living hell out of
it. We work on a lot of these movies, and we don't really think that the actors are as big as what we would normally see. You see him on set, and they're not as big, but Liam Neeson's a big dude.
He's not short. I'll give him that. He was, I'd say, 6'4", 6'5", somewhere around there. Yeah. He had an intimidating presence.
He was a little.
David Koechner wasn't small either. He was probably around
6'2", 6'3".
6'3". Yeah, he was a big dude
and
too.
And Will Ferrell too, man. What was going on out there?
Yeah, he's a massive man as well. They're all big guys. I guess they would have to be, or it would look strange on camera. Yeah. A lot of the times I tell that to people when they meet certain actors, like, well, this actor was 6'5". Like on the screen, everybody else is that same size too. I'm like, well, they're either using Apple boxes or platform shoes, or they do the other route where they just hire other actors that are that size. But of course, you run into problems with that, like they did with Gunsmoke, where the main character was 6'7". They just had to dig trenches around areas. You ever read about the making of Gunsmoke?
That guy was gigantic.
He was huge. Yeah. And so was in The Rifleman. He's 6'4", I think. And I mean, you could just tell he's as big as the horse that he's riding on. He literally just lifts his leg, gets on the horse. It's like, holy shit, how big is this guy?
The horse gets on top of him because he's just so big, he runs around with it. Not like in a gross way. Not in a gross way. He's just a big guy, so he runs around with him. But
it's just easier.
You know what I kind of love about Zach Galifianakis' character in this? The directors said they just knew a guy who did that, who passed out everywhere, so they just were like, that's him. We get it. We know this character. And then there's a couple other things I like where they're talking about Bull Mountain, and the guy's like, it's a little shitty. It's like a Motel 6 ate a yard sale and barfed it up. And then London comes in. He's like, "Hey, the Eskimos come. They're really mad because I guess they stole Bull Mountain from the Eskimos." It's such they play it for comedy, but at least they bring it up, I guess.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch. What I thought was interesting about this movie was one of the producers, Michael Aguilar. Sorry, this was his first movie that he produced on, and then he went to do The Departed.
Whoa.
If you want to talk about a step up.
Do you think they're like, go make Out Cold? If it makes logical sense and you don't go over budget and it finishes on time, we'll let you in over here.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. I was like, wow, he went to do The Departed. Then he went to do Semi-Pro, The Crazies, which they actually shot here in Georgia.
I love The Crazies.
That was a great remake.
Dude, Oliphant and what Roger Mitchell, she's great.
I think Oliphant's just good in everything that he does.
Yeah.
He's a believer. He doesn't look like he's putting on an act. He looks like an actual guy who does do this for a living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you believe him as an outlaw man, or you believe him as a police officer. You believe him in his role.
As a zombie husband. Have you watched the Drew Barrymore zombie show? I love it.
Oh, yeah. I saw the first season when it first came out. I haven't gotten around Santa Clarita Diet,
So
right?
it gets a lot more, all the characters get more comfortable in the final season. So in the first one, they didn't really know what they were doing, and it's still fun. But in the second two, they get into their own little rhythm, and it's a lot better.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got to finish watching it. I remember the first season was really enjoyable. But currently, Michael is working on a movie about Sesame Street.
Hey.
And Gary Barber was another producer who did Communion. If you remember that, I think it's 1989, Christopher Walken alien abduction movie.
Really?
I remember seeing this movie as a kid, and I remember seeing the commercials for it as a kid and thinking, whoa, this movie's going to be, it's scary as hell, I'll get out. I saw it. I was scared. Of course, I was like 6. but I saw it maybe when I was in my 20s, and I was like, man, this movie's ridiculous. But then Gary Barber also produced Young Guns 2.
Oh, wow.
He Young Gunned.
Listen to our Young Guns episode, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, that was a really good podcast as well. We did a lot of research on that one.
Yeah.
And then he did Bad Moon, which I'm part of a movie club that I meet with every week. Kind of like when people do book clubs, I do a movie club where we discuss a movie every week. Bad Moon was my first introduction to this movie club, and that was a really interesting film as well. And then he also produced Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, and then he did this, and then Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So Gary Barber has been killing it for a long time. So this movie had a lot of comedic background to it. Like you had previously said, Lauren Schuler Donner, she started off with Mr. Mom, and she did St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, Dave, You've Got Mail, X-Men. You know, she's crushing it. And then she's now doing the Deadpool movies.
So this film, I guess when you kind of think about it, it's not really a cult classic, is it? And it's not really on Comedy Central all the time. It's just sort of faded away. What?
Yeah, I remember it used to be on Comedy Central a good bit, and I used to be able to see this to watch streaming wise almost regularly. I remember seeing this on Netflix all the time, but not so much now. I'm not sure why.
Do you think it's like there's funny gags in it, but it's not like good enough to be a treasure? Does that, like, you know, some movies fall into the cracks and they become cult classics? Like, you know, you brought up Donnie Darko earlier. So, like, movies like that fall through the cracks, but then people discover it and love it. I mean, this is a movie that got a big release, and it just sort of is okay, right?
Yeah. It kind of hit at the wrong time, and it's just... I'm not sure. I think that people will rediscover this movie probably maybe
after
next
this
year.
Podcast, hey,
it becomes a huge hit. The Malloys all of a sudden are hitting us up. But I think that this movie will probably in about they'll do like a 20-year anniversary because of Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll still be on top of what he's doing right now. And this movie will get a proper release with an updated commentary. Maybe they'll have like a reunion where they all get to sit around and talk about the times of making this movie. And I think that then it'll rediscover a new audience. I mean, that happens a lot with different films and whatnot over the years.
I hope so. And there's another scene I want to talk about. It's where Pigpen goes and saves the solid gold dancers. But see,
the Living Daylight scene?
I mean, yeah, the Living Daylight scene. And it's just, okay, it's obviously, you know, it was obviously meant as like an R-rated scene. And the way it plays, you're just like, oh, brother, this is such a 2001 movie. But I do think it's funny that it was Pigpen's mission to go rescue solid gold dancers. Like, that's just, I don't know. Maybe because on Evolution, when Orlando Jones is like, I'm a solid gold dancer. But it's a funny idea. I mean, it doesn't totally work, but I just like the idea of like, there's a load of solid gold dancers in there.
He's like, ladies, remove your tops now. Yeah. I don't have the time. Come on.
Jiggle the handle.
You grab my waist. Sweet.
Yeah. And I guess
that's a funny little scene. And then when he wakes up from his dream of this, he's humping the chair, he's humping the seat.
And they're just watching him.
It's like, Pigpen, wake up! Oh my God.
And his name was Pierre. Yeah, when they talk to him, I think his name's Pierre.
Oh, like that's kind of like his spy name?
No, his real name. Remember when they're like, your name is Pierre?
That's
He's
funny.
like, yeah, but everyone calls him Pigpen.
That's funny. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't catch that.
I think
that's funny.
So this isn't a knock on this movie, right? But it's just it's very of its time. But I guess as someone, as people who are our age, you hear the music, you hear the Jack Johnson, you hear the Sum 41, Eve 6, who I really like. That kind of makes you happy. And then, I mean, this movie, dude, it's in and out in 90 minutes.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. It's a great movie that you would play just to kind of tune out and have a good time. You don't have to pay attention to it. It's music that was music that we would have listened to when we were in high school.
Yeah, I think it's just no, you're right. Like this is, I guess, what I listen to in high. I still listen to all this stuff.
Yeah, what's even funnier was I listened to Sum 41 not that long ago, and I realized that it had been almost 20 years since their album came out.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh gosh, it makes me feel so old, because I was like, I remember whenever people would wear the Dickies pants came back into fashion.
Oh yeah.
I was no stranger to that too. And the Vans shoes, and then you wore a necktie for no reason at all, or you used the necktie as a belt.
Oh man, yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was big.
That was 2000s right there. That was like, right? That was like 2000. Or is that when you wore it, or are you talking about 90s?
No, that was definitely 2000s. That would have been 2002, 2003.
Because like the Sum 41 guys wore the random ties.
Yeah, and it's like it became kind of cool for some reason.
Yeah.
So people started doing that. But yeah, this movie definitely is of the time, and hopefully it'll regain a new audience. Maybe it'll have nostalgia in about 10 years, and there'll be a 30th anniversary. Everything becomes nostalgic now. After 30 years, it becomes nostalgic.
I want someone to come across this who has never watched it. Zach Galifianakis, David Koechner,
yeah, right.
Like Thomas Lennon. Like what? But also, this movie, dude, it also has Jimmy Eat World, old 97s. Like there's some of my favorite. Andrew WK in this.
Ooh.
Like this is a like sort of Mix-a-Lot, Jack Johnson. There's a lot Will.i.am in here before they were big. Lit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know we keep saying
Lit.
Foo Fighters are in this soundtrack. It's I guess if you want to go on Spotify and just crank it, it's fun. The song Anytime is good.
I remember Andrew WK, man. He was cool.
Party hard.
That album was freaking fire, man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It was start to finish, man. You knew you were having a rocking time when you put on that Andrew WK record.
And the Malloy brothers also directed Wolfmother videos.
I was never a big fan of theirs.
You never liked Woman?
I was never a big fan. I'm sorry.
Oh, Chris. You know what, Chris? You're fired. Imagine that. Like, you go to talk to your friend. Hey, man, you still doing Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast? No, man. Like, Mark told me that I don't like Wolfmother, so I can't do the podcast. Like, Wolfmother?
What? If you're fired for my friendship.
If we have a feud, Chris, I want it to be over something so petty that when we tell it to people, they're just angry that we're feuding.
Like it turns out that you don't like you don't like vanilla scented candles.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, no, man, I like orange flavored.
Chris Kelly, I don't like using scented kitty litter. I like unscented. And you're like, I can't be friends with you anymore. And like,
do you even know that's doing to the environment?
Yeah, and then you tell people that story, and
that sounds like something Chris would get pissed off about. Yeah.
Chris Kelly. No, so any final thoughts about this movie before we get out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to just say a few things.
And then we have your recommendation, correct?
Correct. I got two of them this time.
Oh, no.
Just a few things. The actor Victoria Filstedt, who played Inga, she was a Swedish model who had appeared in Playboy in 1996, and she became 1997's Playmate of the Year. But recently, in 2019, she produced a documentary on the Dalai Lama.
What? That's great.
She did. I thought that's awesome. So she's really trying to move forward from her career as opposed to just kind of being the hot blonde in movies, because she's about 6 feet tall. She's from Sweden. She had the very stereotypical hot blonde.
Oh, this is and her character is nothing more than a stereotype too. Would you say?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's kind of it kind of hurts the soul almost nowadays to watch that. She's really like doing really good for herself and really trying to put forward some real positive messages. And I think that this is the start of it, was just her documentary on the Dalai Lama. One of the reviews that I read from the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, earlier I said it was from where Roger Ebert wrote from. I incorrectly said that he actually wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize for that. So this is from the San Francisco Chronicle. It said, about Zach Galifianakis, then an unknown. They said Zach Galifianakis, as the oldest and drunkest of the lot, almost makes a case for the wastrel existence. With full Grizzly Adams beard and a flair of physical comedy, Galifianakis is so obviously enjoying himself that he draws the viewer into his hijinks.
Aww.
He even draws laughs from a painfully derivative penis gag. And I was like, it's kind of like it's a positive, but also a really negative.
Now, I guess talking about this movie, there is a lot of derivative in this. So we're not saying, all right, so I guess if you're listening, we're not saying that this is Casablanca. We're just saying that this is a PG-13 skiing comedy that's supposed to be Animal House, and it is what it is, right? I mean, that's terrible.
If you don't get that, then I don't think you'll enjoy this movie.
And obviously, we don't condone the kind of stereotypes that are used in this movie. It's just, I guess you have to look at it a lens of what this movie was, and that's why we tackle it, correct?
Yeah. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
But USA Today author Claudia Puig, she said that she gave it 1.5 stars. She said, "This is a movie that can't decide what direction it's going in. Some of the time it seems to be on a standard teen sex comedy. Occasionally it appears to be spoofing the genre. It concludes on a romantic, almost honorable note." Which I was like,
On an almost honorable note, I guess he sends her away, right? And then everyone, the mountain wins.
I think that's fair. It's like, it ends in a good note.
Yeah.
The character of Barry, who plays the new boyfriend / fiance, he's played by Todd Richards, who's a professional snowboarder.
Yeah.
And he was a member of the 1998 U.S. Olympic snowboarding team. And he's also probably the only cast member that really knew how to snowboard.
And as a non-actor, I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I believed him. I didn't think that he was. I thought he was an actor because he just seemed natural in his own there.
When Pigpen punches his leg, I laugh every time.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, that's just so insane.
He said he couldn't feel it.
No, I'm just really lazy.
So, are you really paralyzed? No, I'm just lazy. I'm like, oh. I love how Flex Alexander says, "Yeah, my willing to want to beat his ass just went down." Luke and Pigpen, their address is 132 Crazy Woman Creek Road, Bull Mountain, Alaska, and Suite 2 F9884447WL Zone 77.
Wow.
And they owe $1,422.65 according to their eviction notice.
Wow. I love it.
That is so funny. But that's all that I have, and I'm good to roll right into my recommendations.
Chris Kelly recommendations.
Mm-mm.
More, Mark. More. Sing.
Dance for me, Hoffmeyer. So, my recommendation, this is one that we already discussed, so I don't have much to go into, which was 2003's Grind.
Yep. Sweet Lou.
Sweet Lou. If you liked Out Cold, or if you're interested in going more in depth with these late 90s, 2000s kind of, extreme sports / comedies, Grind is definitely up there.
With 8% tomato meter scores. They both have 8%. This has a $6 million budget. That's nothing.
The movie showcases a whole heck of a lot of great talent. It has a lot of cool skaters. It's the basic story is kind of similar to all the other ones that were coming out there. It's basically about 4 skateboarders that go on a summer tour trying to get signed and become stars. So you know what you're walking into. You see the front cover. It's a lot like Out Cold. It's a lot of ridiculous facts, a lot of ridiculous stuff. Very late 90s, early 2000s. The one guy has the big beaded necklace. It's yep. We all had those. I had them. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had one.
Oh, I did too.
So, yeah. I'd be interested in knowing if you can still buy those. But that movie's fun. It was directed by Casey LaScala, who was the producer of Donnie Darko.
Wow.
And he also produced the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, and he's currently doing a movie about the Amityville Horror, which he's also writing and directing.
Oh, wow.
So that one's a lot of fun. Strongly recommend checking that one out if you, to go along with Out Cold. And another one, so the other direction that I was going in when I was thinking of my recommendations as far as where to take the next one, because you want to have a nice one that goes with it as far as sports and comedy, I decided to go with teenage sex comedy that probably a lot of people don't really remember or didn't know about. And it's 1985's Mischief. I don't know if you saw that one, Mark. That one takes place in 1956, and it's your basic teenage sex comedy where you have the dorky guy who takes place in high school. You got the dorky kid who falls in love with the hot girl, and then he has this mysterious biker / greaser guy move in next door who comes from an abusive family, and then he idolizes this guy. And it's very much of the time in the mid 80s. It takes place in the 50s. There was a lot of these movies that took place, especially in the 80s, took place in the 50s. And it's a sex comedy, much like Porky's, much like Revenge of the Nerds. And it's very enjoyable and complements Out Cold very well.
Nice. I can't.
Yeah.
Look at these recommendations, Chris Kelly.
And the writer of Mischief, just to add a little touch to it, was Noel Black, and he said that movie is somewhat autobiographical to him.
Hey now.
Yeah. So those movies pair really well with this one, in my opinion.
And I gotta tell you, I'm really looking forward to our next one, Detroit Rock City.
Oh yes,
that's gonna be good.
Love that movie. I love that movie so much.
I gotta listen to all three commentaries sometime in May.
I'll see you next time. You look like a Sasquatch.
Yeah, and I'll hand it. I already do. I'll look like a double Sasquatch.
I just got done with Out Cold. I ran into the grind and beaten some Mischief.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like that. We should do and then Euro Trip. I love too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie. I've seen that. I remember seeing that in the theaters. I still have the movie ticket to that.
Miss Goosey.
Yeah. Right. And they drink the absinthe.
You have a smudge. Where? Oh man.
No.
Well, this was fun, man. I'm glad we did Out Cold. This worked out really well.
Yeah, thank you. I love this. I love watching this one. I just want to add, I haven't been able to find Out Cold streaming anywhere. So if you do have a copy of this, go ahead and watch it. You can rent it on Amazon, and you can rent it on YouTube and all the other streaming services. But unfortunately, it's not available for streaming right now.
I somehow own the DVD of this movie.
I do too, and you want to know what really ticked me off? I put it into my DVD player, and it didn't register as a DVD. Nice. It says no disc.
Wow.
And I was like, I used to watch this. I have distinct memories of watching this DVD. And I was like, I'll be darned, I know this thing works. So I cleaned my DVD player, cleaned my DVD. It still didn't work. I was so ticked. But luckily, my brother had it recorded.
Nice.
from literally years ago. He still had it. So that's how I got to rewatch it.
So this movie, I thought I owned The Count of Monte Cristo, and I couldn't find it. And I didn't know I owned Out Cold, and I found it. I love it. This is good. Hey, man. Well, thank you. And also, Chris, well, I'm going to throw in an introduction to your podcast in the beginning of the episode as well, because we forgot to do it. But yeah, you want to plug your podcast real quick?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. So I decided my podcast that I'm doing, it originally started out as an Instagram story where my girlfriend, Miriam Kroll, she's from Germany, and I was showing her a lot of movies because she didn't really have much knowledge in American cinema. So I started to show her movies. And I started by showing her what I called them classic American movies. The very first one I showed her was Escape from New York. So so I showed her that movie. She loved it. So I decided to show her more movies. And I started getting a lot of replies from my friends on Instagram saying, because you already do podcasts or you guest host on podcasts, why don't you just create your own podcast and base it around this Instagram story? So I did. And I started showing her movies. And they're not all classics. They're not all from America, but they're definitely movies in some way, shape, or form. And then we sit down and talk about them. I do really in-depth research, much like how Mark and I do on this podcast. And I talk to her about the movies, and she talks about how she enjoyed the movie, and she also talks about how in German cinema, certain actors or directors that are in German how they would approach the movie as well. So we do a lot of in-depth research on these movies, and then we talk about them. So it's now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, literally anywhere that you can get a podcast. It's on there. It's on that format.
What about Hank's podcast app?
Hank's podcast app.
Was it on there, Chris Kelly?
And no, I'm sorry. I'll have to contact Hank about putting it on his forum. But the podcast is called Classic American Movies. I release it every week. I'm releasing it every Monday. It's going to be a new episode. I've released 2 as of this recording. Also, in between, I'll be releasing my firsthand interviews that I'm conducting with cult classic filmmakers or those involved in cult classic films. I conduct firsthand interviews with these people, and then I release the interviews raw on the podcasting app. So it'll be Cult Classics with Chris. That'll be coming out usually. I'm planning on doing that every other week. So that'll be a new interview that I'll be conducting with a new cult classic icon or filmmaker who created a cult classic film of our, that we know.
I love it. Listen to it.
Yeah, I think when this comes out, this podcast comes out, I believe our Liquid Sky will probably already have come out. Yep. And I conducted an interview with the writer and star of that, Ann Carlisle, and you can listen to that entire interview on my podcast, Classic American Movies.
All right, so this was great. Thank you for doing that, Chris. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Chris Kelly, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.